Alright everyone, so we're back for round number 2 with a bit of a keep here. We have Cryptbreaker and Dread Wanderer. We're playing against probably Blue-Red Control, which is not the worst matchup. It's not as good of a matchup without a card like Relentless Dead, but it's not that terrible of a matchup. So we're going to start out with a Dread Wanderer into Dread Wanderer Cryptbreaker, the reason being that we just want to get in for more damage. They could definitely have a card like Sweltering Sun's main board, but I don't really know how much we can play around a card like that. I think we just have to follow our strategy of getting in there and hoping it works out. So yeah, so we're definitely gonna get in there. Look, if they have turn 3, Sweltering Suns into play, like good beats. If not, we're gonna put on a lot of pressure. We're probably getting Magnus Brisade here. or Galvanic Bombardment. Okay, that's not bad. That leans to them not having a sweeper, which is good. Anticipate. Okay, so they need to find the land bad, which means that we can just go ahead and Diagraph Colossus here. If we draw a white land, we're just going to Wayward Servant probably. Again, we're still, to some extent, playing around a sweeper, but we can't really just afford to keep getting in for this amount of damage. So we're going to play a Wayward Servant. Diagraph Colossus is going to be a huge beater if they do wipe the board, so I'm not too concerned about that. Also, we are going to be able to bring back our Dread Wanderer, so I'm not too concerned about that either. Some people might hold the Wayward Servant here, but I mean, if they have like another Galvanic Bombardment or a Magma Spray and then just a Harness Lightning next turn, that shuts down all of our offense. So now if they have that kind of stuff, it doesn't shut down our whole offense. So that is what we are trying to do here. Now, at this point, we're ahead, getting in for 4 every turn, and now we can afford to Diagraph Colossus playing around a card like Censor. And that land is not actually that bad because it lets us play Liliana's Mastery. I'm still just going to attack here. I'm going to play the land before playing the Diagraph Colossus, and then we're going to go ahead and play the Colossus. Again, if they have a 3, a 3 power sweeper, we're not dead there. Alright, nice little revolutionary rebuff. So, there's not a lot we can do about that. We have 2 resilient threats on the board. Our opponent is missing land drops, so we feel pretty good. We're going to try to slam the Liliana's Mastery before anything happens. The second one just makes the first one so much better, because, even if they counter the first one, we're still going to get them with the second one, so I'm not too upset about that. The one thing I don't want to draw for the rest of the game is lands. If we don't draw any more lands, we're probably going to be okay. If we do draw lands, we're going to have an issue. But again, just Dread Wanderer being good against control here, so, we're going to keep seeing it. So another land for them, but another comes into play tap land. Liliana's Mastery should just be game over here, so I'm just going to slam it. I don't have to slam it. I could slam a Binding Mummy, but I do want some way to rebuild the board later. Another negate. That's fine. So the main deck negates are obviously fantastic against Marvel. That's why they're there. I imagine I'm getting a 1-mana red removal spell here, but maybe not. Okay, so this is a spot where if they don't have a sweeper or don't have a way to deal with both our guys, we win. And they only have 4 cards in hand, and we got there. So game number 1, pretty sweet against a blue-red. So onto the sideboard, what are we looking to do? Scrap Heap Scroungers are definitely coming in. Dark Salvation's out, right? Grasp of Darkness out. Anguish and Making might be a cut, but it's one of our last cuts. So we're looking at Transgress the Mines. We're looking at Lost Legacies, and then as you can see, we have 3 cuts left to make. So once all this stuff is in, we can kind of think about it a sec. I'm going to take 1 of the Lost Legacies out, and I'm going to take 2 Anguish and Makings out. And this way we just are like low to the ground, all creatures. The 2 Lost Legacies can get a bunch of stuff, so I'm not too concerned about that. One of the cards I'm going to be naming is obviously Sweltering Suns. The other card is, of course, we're going to want to get, like, for instance, all the Glimmer of Geniuses out of their hand or whatever. This is a mulligan. You're probably not surprised by that, but this is in fact a mulligan. And this is a keep. An excellent keep, I may add. Ooh, bottom. Alright, so I want to offer the Dread Wanderer first. It's just more damage. We also have Crypt Breaker on Crypt Breaker on Crypt Breaker, so we're not too concerned about it. Magma Spray would be good here, but if they're playing Galvanic Bombardment in the main deck, they're probably not playing any Magma Sprays. We could go Transgress trying to hunt for a removal spell here, but I think putting pressure on the board is going to be slightly better. So I'm going to attack first. This is a spot, again, where, like, if they have a Censor or they have a Sweeper, they got me. Like, if you have a Sweeper in this spot, if you have a Sweltering Suns, if you have a Radiant Flames, like, good for you. You win a prize. You get to take both my guys. I'm going to get my Dread Wanderer back later, so I'm not super concerned about it. But I'm putting enough pressure on the board that I'm actively making you have something. Now, what would I love to draw? I would love to draw an untapped land that's not a Plains, right? I'd love to draw a Concealed Courtyard. I'd love to draw a Swamp. It would let me go Transgress playing around Censor into Crypt Breaker, which would be fantastic. They've already used their Aether Hub here, so they're going to be light on blue unless they find another blue source. Bam. And that also means that they don't have red. Double red for Sweltering Suns. Alright, so I'm going to attack here because I want to bait them into using, like, energy or whatever. Or not bait them into using energy, just baiting them into using mana here. Harness Lightning, that's fine. So we're going to get in for 2. And we're going to transgress them. And we're going to play Crypt Breaker. And Crypt Breaker just gets us super far ahead. Wow, Glimmer, Glimmer, Chandra. So what can they do next turn? Next turn they can play Chandra or Glimmer. What am I more afraid of? Chandra into Harness Lightning is kind of a beating, so I think I'm more afraid of Chandra. But now we know they have Glimmer, Torrential Harness Lightning. That's actually relatively relevant. If we draw a Lost Legacy, we can cast it for Harness Lightning or whatever to get it out of their hand, maybe. Wayward Servant. That's actually a fantastic draw. Alright, I'm just going to attack with both of them. No Sweeper in their hand, but they could have one. So the question is how deep do I go here? They're clearly looking to sweep, but they don't have a Sweeper yet. Yeah, I think I just play Wayward Servant, Crypt Breaker. What are they glimmering for? See if they top or bottom. Bottom. Bottom, bottom. Alright, so bottom, bottom makes me want to cast Crypt Breaker. If they draw it, they draw it. If they don't, they don't. If they draw it, they draw it. If they don't, we win. And I don't really think we can win by just adding a little bit to the board. I think we have to add a lot to the board. Because we also... So there's not only a Harness Lightning in their hand, but as well as a Harness Lightning in their hand, there's also a Torrential Gearhulk plus Harness Lightning in the pipeline, like coming. So we really have to be careful of that. Alright, so Wandering Fumarole is like pretty good for them, right? That gives them an extra blocker if they're going to need it. But we're not going to whittle them down to 0 cards here, so I'm not too worried about that. Scrap Heap Scrounger is exactly what we want here, so we're just going to get it in with everything. Let's see what happens here. Next turn, untapped land, we're getting Torrential plus Harness Lightning, so we have to understand that that is coming. So they're going to Harness Lightning something here. I don't know what they're going to Harness Lightning, but they are going to do something. We could have also discarded the Scrap Heap Scrounger, then got the Scrap Heap Scrounger back through the Wayward Servant. That's a way to maximize value against control decks sometimes. Just discarding your threats that you can get back later. Alright, I don't expect to see another Harness Lightning here. In for 7. So I'm going to play a Scrap Heap Scrounger. I'm going to play it around Censor. I know it doesn't really matter, but that's what I'm going to do. And then Crypt Breaker just being a 1/1, I'm just going to get it in there. Look, I mean, if they sweep next turn, that's basically wasting their turn. We're going to bring Scrap Heap Scrounger, or we're going to bring Dread Wanderer back on our turn, and then we're going to have somewhat of a clock. We're still going to be dead. I don't think having Crypt Breaker plus Scrap Heap Scrounger back would make us any less dead, so I think we just have to know that they have Torrential Gearhulk plus Harness Lightning, so they can block kill, and they're still taking, and they're taking 5. Like, we just have to, or they can block kill, and they're taking 4. I mean, we just have to do our best to play around those, around like what we know about. So Dreadwanderer is interesting. Okay, I'm actually just gonna go to end step. Again, I don't want to get block killed and then untap killed and then not win the game, so I'm gonna take it a little slow here. They're going to Gear Hulk. They're probably gonna kill Wayward Servant. I'd imagine, unless they're like hardcore glimmering to find a Sweltering Suns to wipe our board, they're probably finding Harness Lightning. Now, yeah, now you may be saying to yourself, like, hey Sam, why aren't you just like attacking, forcing them to Torrential plus Harness Lightning, getting in for 4, and then next turn you can swing and get in for 2 and kill them. And the reason is that math doesn't really work because they have a Wandering Fumarole. And so that math kind of works when I have a Dread Wanderer, right? Because if one of the things they block is Scrap Heap Scoundrel, I can bring the Scrap Heap Scoundrel back and play a Dread Wanderer, and then I have more blockers. So I could take that line, but I like taking the like draw a card, make a guy line better. We don't have a ton of late game we can play if they have sweepers, but if they don't have sweepers, we do have a fair amount of late game we can play. So the question is, what are they doing here? So on their end step, I'm going to discard a card, discard this guy, make a zombie, force their hand here. A zombie's about to come into play, putting them at 5 basically. I mean, I know that the worst they can have here is basically another Gear Hulk. That's kind of like the worst thing they can have here is just a second Gear Hulk. And so second Gear Hulk plus Harness Lightning takes care of 3 attackers, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm getting in, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm getting in for 4. So not only so basically what the deal is, if I can find, or right now I'm representing lethal through Gear Hulk Harness Lightning. I'm not representing lethal through Gear Hulk Harness Lightning Galvanic Bombardment. Alright. Binding Mummy might help with that. Let's see what can happen. Okay, so we're going to transgress them. If they want to show their hand, they're going to have to show it now. I imagine they're Harness Lightning this Wayward Servant. And then we're going to get to see what's up. Which I do not mind. Yeah, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that Wayward Servant immediately to draw a card here. I would like to draw a white land. Yeah, a white land would have been key. I guess I shouldn't have tapped both Crypt Breakers in case I do another land. I'd say if Scatter the Winds, Harness Lightning, Negate. Scatter the Winds, Harness Lightning, Negate. So they're going to have Harness Lightning and Negate up. Alright, so what do we do? If we draw a land, we Binding Mummy. Maybe we just Diregraph Colossus. Then they're going to Harness Lightning it. Harness Lightning and Negate in a random card, and they have Wandering Fumarole, Torrential Gear Hulk, Torrential Gear Hulk. So we should be able to win this game. This is one I should be able to win, just because we're going to be able to put more stuff on the board than they are blockers. My chair is falling apart over here. Just falling apart. Alright. Chair has not fallen apart yet. Tap, tap, tap. Draw a card. Come on. Draw a good card. Draw a good card. They should probably kill Crypt Breaker in the middle of this here. Ooh, that was a good card. The reason that was a good card is because I get to Binding Mummy, and then I get to discard one of these Diregraph Colossuses to make a creature next turn. Or make a creature at the end of their turn, basically. Which is the sickest, because then we get to either play Diregraph Colossus next turn, or bring back a Dread Wanderer, and then we're kind of winning. So I'm going to just make the executive decision here to get rid of the Diagraph Colossus. Now, I decided there that playing 2 creatures was better than playing 1, 1, 2, 3. It was better than playing a 1, 5, 5 with upside. And I decided that for 2 reasons. One, I was hoping to tap one of their guys down on their turn. They're obviously a little too smart for that. But also planning Binding Money is huge because I can bring back Dread Wanderer next turn, or if I draw a land, I can bring back Dread Wanderer plus Diagraph Colossus, tapping down their 2 guys, so they can activate Fumarole. We don't know if they have another Harness Lightning. We do know they have a Negate in their hand. So at this point, let's assume they can make up 3 blockers. They are dead if they can only create 3 blockers next turn. Alright, so I'm going to Binding Mummy here, and we should be able to tap everything down at this point. Alright, so if I attack with everything here, and they create, let's say worst case scenario, they Gearhulk Harness Lightning, they're still dead. So they have Gearhulk Harness Lightning Bombardment, they go to 1. And then I bring back Dread Wanderer next turn, and I tap a guy. Yeah, okay. I think we got this one. Alright. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I'll see you for the wrap-up, so check that out right after this match.